Tamisha, it looks like you're on mute.
Of course I am. All right, let's see. Can you guys see that?
That looks great, yes.
Okay, well, let's begin then. All right, so good morning, still morning time. So good morning, my name is Tamisha McKenzie, and I am the Family Peer Support Training Coordinator for NAMI, Ohio. I'm very excited to be in the role. I am also a parent with lived experience. I have 3 children, but 2 of which had mental health disruptions during their adolescence, and they are now adults, and they are doing quite well. You know, day to day, you know, we move forward. I'm here today to talk to you about really the family peer support basics, what we use to form our curriculum that we are using to train family peer supporters here in Ohio. Currently, we have trained upward of, I want to say, I haven't done my total count lately, but I want to say we're just at about 65, 70 family peer supporters here in Ohio that we've trained. We're still waiting on the certification, but they are trained, and quite a few of them are working in that capacity as family peer supporters. They too, well, I'll talk about the qualifications shortly. I just want to make sure that I wanted to let you know that I'm a parent, and that what I'm telling you is concerning the curriculum. Okay, so before we go any further about the curriculum, I need to tell you who NAMI is, just in case you don't know. So NAMI is the National Alliance on Mental Illness, and we are the nation's leader, the nation's voice on mental health, mental illness, and disruptive behaviors behind those mental illnesses. We offer education, advocacy, and support in order to help families navigate the struggles that come with the mental health challenges. We provide a lot of different, well, quite a few different services and programs, educational opportunities, and support groups to different groups. And we provide them to the individual that lives with a mental health condition, as well as the family members or anybody that is in that village for that person who wants to take an active role in protecting and helping the individual with their recovery. All of our services and programs, support groups, they're free of charge to the participants, and they are peer-led and peer-centered. So anyone that is facilitating a program there within NAMI has that lived experience, okay? They have that lived experience, they've been there, they've walked that road, and you know, they're there now in a place where they are advocating and able to share, you know, their journeys to help others along that same type of road. And as far as being peer-centered, our programs and services are voluntary. It is usually they're not mandated by anyone. You could choose to participate or you don't. Okay, so that's one of the great aspects about just peer services in general, is that it's up to that individual on whether or not that they would like to be involved. So I'm really having trouble seeing my notes, so I'm just gonna bear with me. All right, I'm gonna get you guys there. So NAMI was founded in 1979 by mothers looking for that support. And again, we now offer that education advocacy in over 1,000 communities nationwide. NAMI believes that early identification of brain-based disorders and the use of timely and appropriate interventions can help to minimize the negative and potentially long-term effects of disorders. It builds resiliency, and it nurtures hope for a better future. So that's what we want. We want to be resilient. We want to have hope for a better future. And we also want that long-term success. That's important. That's very important. All right, so again, we're talking about family peer support. So I want to let you guys know the qualifications of a family peer supporter. So a family peer supporter must be a parent or caregiver. It does not have to be a biological, does not have to be an actual parent. It just needs to be a caregiver of a child, a youth who has some type of behavioral health concern, whether it's affiliated with mental health condition, intellectual or developmental disorder, or substance use disorder. So we're just looking primarily at those challenges. We want to be able to assist those parents who are dealing with those behavioral health challenges, okay? They should have some type of general knowledge about public mental health the alcohol and drug systems, special education, juvenile justice, child welfare. We're not asking that you know it all, but we want to know that the participants in our training do have some experience with those systems, because again, they're going to take their lived experience and guide the families that they're working with. They have to have that experience, at least 1 year working, having that child and working with those systems. So again, because the caregiver does not necessarily have to be a biological parent, again, it could be a foster parent, it could be an older sibling, it could be a grandparent, anybody that is in that role as a caregiver, but having that experience of at least 1 year working with that child to navigate those challenges and navigate those systems. We would like to see that as a qualification as well, or we require that, okay? So, and they also have to be able to relate and socially interact and be able to communicate with others from different cultures and varied backgrounds and experiences. So we want people to be culturally competent and have some humility, cultural humility when dealing with other people. We're finding that everything is hard to understand. It's hard to understand sometimes other people's perspectives. When you look at people and you say, okay, well, they have this and they have that, they should be able to. So we work on those strategies with our family peer supporters who are participating in the training on providing grace and not looking so much as what we think people should have or what they should be doing, but more so as, what happened to you and what can we do to make things better. Okay, and we also want the family peer supporters to be able to integrate their own experience only when it's beneficial to the family. One of the first things that we do on the first day of training is we talk about sharing your experience or examining your journey, because we want them to understand the importance of when, how, and why they are sharing it. We don't want them to just go in and work with families and share their experience because that's something that I have to do. This is going to meet that requirement. No, we want them to share key points of their experience when it's necessary to build, to help the family out. So we don't want them to use it to just go in and try to make themselves comfortable with people, with the families, to try to build that, that relationship. I mean, it does build a relationship when you share that intimate details, but we don't want them to just go in full speed ahead. This is who I am and this is what I've experienced. But we want them to use it, be very intentional when sharing that information. Some of the responsibilities of family peer supporters are to learn that family's story, their culture, their strengths, and their concerns. I'm sorry, you guys, I just need to make, oh, there we go. All right. Again, to learn the family's story, culture, their strengths, and their concerns. They need to be able to coach families to navigate those systems. You guys, I mentioned that before, they need to be able to teach them how to, or from their experience, be able to show or lead by example how to navigate those systems. So they want to provide information about the different agencies that could serve the youth and the families, and also by teaching new skills and techniques that will help the caregiver to gain access to and obtain useful community resources. Everything is not always available to everybody, and some people just don't know what hasn't been told to them. So this is one of the main things that family peer supporters do, is that we help to uncover some of those resources that some families just aren't aware that are out there. And especially when they're not, it's new, it's a newer thing, or there's no one in their family who has experienced that type of disorder or challenge. People don't know where to look. So we want to definitely be able to provide, point people in the right direction. Family peer supporters will have to meet with families in person, on the phone, in crisis situations. They'll meet them again in their home, in the community, other settings. One of the things I like to add here is that we meet families where they are, not just necessarily physically, but where they are emotionally. It's a very trying and hard time for families. And that's another great thing that I like about examining your own journey unit in our curriculum, is because it really helps the families to sit down and think about what they were feeling when they first, received the diagnosis or first discovered those challenges, when they realized that this was not just a phase and that it was actually going to become a part of their lifestyle now. Just looking at different components or different phases of the journeys and realizing what it was that they felt because a lot of times I don't remember actually feeling a lot of things at that time. Just being in action and trying to figure out how to help my daughters. We have the family peer supporters examine how they felt, and examine what they used or what was helpful for them to help them remember or realize, since if they've moved past, if they're not dealing with this on a regular basis, but to remember that what families are dealing with, so they can really meet them where they are emotionally as well. And they also have to provide a consistent source of non-judgmental support, encouragement, and hope. I think I skipped one here. Another responsibility is to provide skilled interventions as a part of the treatment team. So again, family peer supporters are not just working with the families, are going to be working with the treatment teams and other professionals, wraparound teams as a part of mobile response stabilization teams. Did I say wraparound teams? I might have said that already. So they have to be able to provide skilled interventions. They have to be able to bridge those communications between the families and the professionals. They also want to support the links between families and community partners, complete and maintain accurate, timely, required documentation. This is really important for case files. Of course, if families are maybe are going to court for different things, of course, reporting back to their supervisors what's going on with the families. And this, the documentation covers so many aspects and is necessary for so many aspects that goes beyond just, this is what we did today. So we do teach about that. And then family peer supporters will also have to attend staff meetings, supervision, coaching, and training as scheduled. They are also required to maintain their certification once that is up and running by completing the continuing education units that are required for peer support. And then, of course, they will participate in consultation and treatment plan coordination with child and family teams on a regular basis. So I just wanted to show you guys, these are some of the things that NAMI states, or NAMI stands behind, or they say that families are dealing with when they have children who have difficult behaviors. So families are dealing with, they're trying to cope with difficult behaviors. They have a lot of blame, and there's ineffective help, and then there's internal conflict. And these are a lot of these are the emotional burdens that kind of weigh families down. So in order to alleviate that, we were asked, or we helped to, or we thought that, family peer support would be a great way to work with those families to help remove some of those burdens and to help find avenues and strategies to get those families onto a new way of life that is, that shows that they have been resilient, okay? So in our curriculum, with the design of the curriculum, we use the core competencies from the National, I can't see my notes, the National Federation of Families for Children's Mental Health. So we adhere to those core competencies in order to produce our curriculum. Our training is 40 hours, and adhering to these competencies, we want to ensure, or we're saying that we believe that anybody that's employed in Ohio as a family peer supporter will meet a high standard of performance. So let's talk about those core competencies. These are really important to me and really important to the curriculum. So the first one is ethics. So this is compliance with laws and regulations and duty to persons served and duties to the profession. Ethics are official. There are officially established rules, standards, and principles for the conduct of a person or a member of a profession. So participants of the NAMI Ohio Family Peer Support Training have pledged to strive towards integrity, safety, and professional responsibility in the roles as family peer supporters. So everyone at the beginning, the first day of family peer support training, they do sign a code of ethics that we keep on file at NAMI Ohio. And they have pledged to nurture a healthy environment for communication. They also, I'm sorry, I'm reading the wrong note. So the code of ethics that was signed by each participant at the beginning of training will help the family peer supporter nurture, now I'm on the right page now, they would help them nurture a healthy environment for communication. It will also help them to prevent the likelihood of burnout, okay? And then it will serve as a role model for collaboration with systems of care partner relationships. And what I mean by that is that it helps to, well, it provides a guideline, an outline of the actual responsibilities of that family peer supporter, which will help protect the peer supporter from, undermining tasks and treatment from other professionals, because it is a professional role. So we don't want people to just be using family peer supporters to go out and, make, copies and grab coffee, or I want you to come back and report this about this family. No, there's a code of ethics that they are bound to. All right. And it also helps to establish both physical and emotional safety for the family peer supporter and the families that they serve. The next core competency is confidentiality. This is very big, you guys. There has to be and should be and trust between the family and the family peer supporter. So it's built on the foundation that the family member maintains control of all shared information. So of course, we know that anytime that a family peer supporter must go between the family and other professionals, other organizations, the school, there must be some type of signed consent, okay? We want to be respectful of people's information, and we also don't want to, leave the job or leave our business with the families and go off and begin speaking about, what's going on in that home with our family members or even our staff members. It's not gossip hour. So we really want to be, remember that it's not. It could be information that is like, wow, I've never heard this before. And if it's not something that is necessarily I'm taking to my supervisor to gain more insight, to get some guidance on this, then it's not something that just needs to be shared. We're not going to just be talking about, people's lives, because it's a serious matter. All right. And I'm one of those people that believe that you have to be careful what you say. Like, just life and death is in the power of the tongue. I just feel like, it should never, people shouldn't just be talked about opinions and things of that nature, just, so just to cut down on that, family should not be spoke about. All right, so we, another competency is affecting change. So we're helping the family act on their strengths, use barriers and setbacks to increase resiliency, okay? It can be done, and establish and maintain routines to wellness. I tried to find some pictures, you guys, for these slides to kind of make them little, a little cuter, little pictures. The next competency is information about behavior health prevention and treatment. So the family peer supporter is going to provide information about clinical services to assist family members in understanding their child's needs and services. We do a lot of activities in our training where potentially one of the family members don't understand why they can allow their child to drink in their home. They rather them drink in their home, rather them do it out with their friends. They can keep them safe and things of that nature. But, and it sounds good, but there are reasons why children should not be drinking, So we want to be able to provide information such as that about substance use. If there's a mental health condition, maybe there's some families aren't understanding. They just got a new diagnosis for their child who is now on the autism spectrum, and we don't understand what that is. We don't know how to make accommodations. So we want to provide that information, okay, about those clinical services to help them understand and help them make some changes, okay, within their home. The next competency is information about special education. So we are going to assist parents to be more aware of the opportunities and issues raised by special education regulations, school social environment, alternative education mechanisms, and post-secondary education, because learning knows no bounds. My youngest child first began to really be symptomatic at school, and eventually, and I'm gonna say in like second, third grade, and by seventh grade, I just remember a lot of interventions being, we did a lot of interventions, and I kept saying, well, something's got to be done, because I'm picking her up from school all the time, and she's not learning, and she's disrupting other kids. They're not learning. What can be done? What can be done? And the principal just kept saying, we don't want to label her. We don't want to label her. And I never understood what that meant, because I wasn't really versed on mental health and all of that. So eventually, I remember she finally had a really bad summer and ended up in treatment for about, 5 to 7 days. And I knew then that something was going on. Of course, they gave us a diagnosis and let us know she was, having some depression. So I had to go out and advocate. And I went out directly to the special education department here in Columbus for Columbus City Schools. And I said, something's got to be done. And she went, the director there, she went. And I don't know if it's because we had once upon a time did line dancing class together at a rec center. She remembered me from that. But so she went and she made a point of going to my daughter's school, and where she recognized a lot more things that I hadn't seen, and the teachers weren't saying, paranoia and things of that nature. But she was able to be removed out of mainstream classes and put into a class for emotional disturbance. And it was a fit for that time. But there are other options, for children other than having to, stay in the classrooms where they're struggling or their behaviors are causing problems for other children. So there's a lot of information out there. So we talk about that in the class as well, in the training as well. The next thing is communication. So here, the family peer supporter is going to convey information to parents or help the parents communicate with other parents, children's teachers, administrators, and other professionals, what it is that they need or what it is that they're expecting. So communication is the foundation of all our interactions, and without good communication skills, misunderstandings will happen. So family peer supporters can also act as that bridge between parents and professionals until the parents have enough practice to interpret and communicate for themselves. So not that we're going to go out and do the communicating for them, we're going to work with them. We have different strategies that we use in our training called focus and internal listening, and working on that. And we do role plays, and we teach how to role play with families to help them with their communications on how to call and get to see if the doctor is taking new patients, just different things. But we work with them, and we know that sometimes we have to stand in that gap until they're able to stand on their own. All right. The next one is parenting for resiliency. Yes, because again, those behaviors are challenging. They are very disruptive. And we need to get back to some normal, because this is not it. All right. So this competency ensures that parents continue to have hope and effectively use family and community supports to become empowered and in skills in parenting children to become empowered and effective adults. And so we all know that resiliency is the ability to cope in the face of adversity, trauma, and stress. Not even only the ability to cope, it's the ability to bounce back. I like this little picture, it looks like a branch, doesn't it? And it's like these little, the leaves are just busting through. I love that. And that's what it feels like sometimes. That's what it's felt like for me and my family. It's like we've had this for a while, for years, this something just hard and keeping us stuck and isolated from everyone else. And then all of a sudden we got some education. We learned some new coping strategies. We started to implement, self-care. And then we were able to just bounce back and bounce out of that, that bondage there. So with resiliency for children, it's more than the individual's child's capacity to overcome adversity. It requires the help of others. It's a result of how well children, their families, and schools and communities work together to help the vulnerable young people navigate their way to the resources they need for well-being. All right. So one of the major factors in childhood resiliency is that relationship with caring adults. And a caring adult can be a parent, can be a caregiver, coach. A lot of us had a nice teacher when we were younger that we just loved talking to. It could be a neighbor or other person who learns about healthy relationships. And a healthy relationship is consistent, predictable, safe, and it offers guidance, it offers mentoring, and it offers comfort. So that is one key, that's one factor of the three factors ideal for childhood resiliency. So we really go into that. We talk about that, work on that. And then there's advocacy in and across systems. So in this competency, we teach families how to navigate through the programs and systems that may not be clearly identifiable, may not coordinate with other funding sources, or may not be attuned to the family's needs. So advocacy for a family peer supporter is about utilizing their own experiences, all right, to spotlight issues, to direct change, improve services, and also develop accountability. So in our training, we teach this skill to we talk to our family peer supporters about, their stance, okay? We want them to show the families how to advocate for themselves by offering support, strategically coaching the families, and by modeling behavior. So we want them to, again, right, it's their stance. It's being organized and professional and being calm, even when, in the face of someone saying this is not going to work or this is not going to happen, but being able to find ways around that, or keeping that composure, not getting upset. And, emotionally charged people can, they can get vocal. I've heard a lot of families say, I had to go to the school and I got vocal, so we don't want people to get so vocal that what they're advocating or what they're trying to get for their family is lost and all of that. Okay, so we want to demonstrate that, and we will have times, family peer supporters have times where they're met with opposition, even from their the professionals they work with, but we want to model that, well, yeah. I'm not going to get upset and break down, but I'm going to find another avenue. I'm going to try again later. So
hey, Tamisha, I apologize. I'm going to interrupt. This is so helpful and informative. I know that we are just trying to be mindful of time. If we could just wrap up here in the next half a minute.
Half a minute? Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
Okay, three more. Okay, so empowerment. So building sufficient emotional and physical support around the parent so that he or she can and will sustain their positive parenting role. The next one is wellness and natural supports. Of course, we want to assist families in learning coping skills and boosting self-care and improving their resistance to stress. And that is the last one. So what I want to say is that we are offering trainings throughout the rest of the year through 22. There's pretty much one every month. We have one in May that has not been assigned to a specific county. And then from July on through December, we have trainings that have not been assigned to specific training sites. So if you get on namiohio.org, you can go to the Family Peer Support page and look at the calendar of trainings. There is also the link for anyone who would like to participate in trainings there. And there is a host request. So if you would like to host a training in your area, you could also submit a host request, and I will get with you and arrange that and coordinate that training to come to your area. That's pretty much it. I just wanted to talk about those core competencies.
Great, thank you, Tamisha. And your PowerPoint presentation will be shared later today with everyone, so they can look at if there was anything that was missed. But thank